Remember recently when we were talking about the rise of anti-Indian racism? Well, in that video, I highlighted the example of Harrison Faulkner, a personality from the right-wing media outlet True North, who is using the same messaging as the extremists he keeps engaging with, but gets to launder that through the more mainstream veneer of True North. But like, True North's managing editor is trying to get into politics through the Conservative Party right now. Its co-founder and one of its largest funders is a top executive from Shopify, and it has been granted one-on-one interviews with conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Despite all of this mainstream cred, they still don't appear to have done anything about this employee, who keeps posting false narratives without corrections that fuel anti-Indian sentiment and other hateful panics. For example, in his latest tirade of falsehoods, Harrison Faulkner shared a video of a street party that took place in Brampton. I guess Harrison doesn't really know what a party is, because he said it's a residential neighborhood and imagine living on this street. But it turns out this festival had a city permit and there were paid police officers working the event. Of course, Harrison didn't issue a correction, though he did get hit with a community note, and he continued to fight with people who pointed out his rage bait, which he's been very busy posting. Like when he alleged a church was burned down, when it was actually being turned into condos and was a construction site. That didn't stop the residential school denial in his replies. Or when he found it quote-unquote weird and relevant to policy that 2 cabinet ministers came to this country as refugees. Or when he claimed that having a foreign language translation on a campaign sign is a quote-unquote problem. Or when he interviewed the founder of the Proud Boys, said he finally found another white person in Toronto and laughed at his racist jokes. He's also gotten a podcast episode removed from Spotify for breaking its rules, which include prohibition of hate speech. And he recently joined a Twitter space affiliated with the far-right extremist group Diagolon, which engaged in residential school denial, and where he briefly overlapped with this guy. Yeah, that's the top Diagolon guy who has posted videos of himself laughing while watching footage of people in India being killed by trains. I have repeatedly contacted True North about this and they haven't replied. And at this point, their inaction is arguably an answer. And if any politician or otherwise mainstream figure shares True North's content at this point, after months of this, it tells me all I need to know about them too. What do you think of all this?